Attention is going to quickly turn to the cardinals, who will gather behind closed doors to select the next pope. Cardinals will eventually meet in the Sistine Chapel and begin the incredibly secretive process known as a conclave, which will only end when white smoke billows from the Vatican chimney, alerting the world that the decision has been made and we have a new pope. CNN's Ben Wiedemann has this look at some of the possible candidates.
One of the top candidates to succeed Francis is the man who served as his second in command, the current Vatican Secretary of State, Cardinal Pietro Parolin. From visiting war-torn Ukraine to brokering a deal that saw the Holy See mend ties with China, the 70-year-old Italian is seen as a skilled diplomat and a conciliatory figure who could appeal to both conservatives and progressives. His election, however, could lead to clashes with the Trump administration as he has rebuked the U.S. president's Gaza plan. Another top contender is Cardinal Fridolin Ambongo Basungo of the Democratic Republic of Congo. A strong defender of democracy and human rights, Ambongo has been cardinal since 2019.
Felice, cioè sono consapevole.
I am happy. I am aware of the responsibility this appointment brings.
È mio con questa nomina.
That responsibility has seen him stand up to warlords and corrupt leaders, becoming a respected moral voice. The 65-year-old is also the leader of a massive local church of more than 7 million people and represents the growing church in Africa. A surprise candidate may be Cardinal Robert Prevost from the United States. America's global influence has made electors shy away from choosing a U.S. pope in the past. But the 69-year-old from Chicago spent many years working in Peru before leading the powerful Vatican office for bishop appointments, and he shouldn't be ruled out. The top contender, though, may hail from one of the corners of the globe where the church has been growing, and few cardinals are as charismatic as Luis Antonio Tagle from the Philippines, often dubbed the Asian Francis.
We believe that Jesus is alive, and he was born and he ministered, he died, and rose from the dead in Asia.
The 67-year-old led the church's charitable arm, as well as the Vatican Department of Evangelization. And he may be well positioned as the church pivots towards parts of the world where it's expanding. Still, it's impossible to say which, if any, of these candidates will be chosen. If there's anything we can glean from past conclaves, it's that usually the favorites don't get picked. And in fact, back in 2013, when the conclave was held after the resignation of Benedict XVI, Jorge Bergoglio, later to become Pope Francis, was not one of those top contenders. He was not considered papabile, popeable. But then again, he went on to serve for 12 years as the pontiff. Jake?
It's just all so fascinating. Ben Wiedemann in Rome, thank you so much for that report.
You're looking now live at pictures of St. Peter's Square, where Catholics continue to visit and pay their respects to Pope Francis. Right now, his body lying in an open casket in his Santa Marta residence at the Vatican. And we have learned that the Vatican will hold his funeral on Saturday. CNN's Anderson Cooper and Clarissa Ward are both live for us from St. Peter's Square in Rome. Clarissa, let me start with you just in terms of what the funeral plans are for the Pope.
So, Casey, we're starting to get a better feel for what the funeral will look like. The funeral will actually be held right behind me in the square of St. Peter's, and there will be thousands of mourners who will pour in. Then the casket of Pope Francis after the Eucharist will be brought into the Basilica of St. Peter's, where it will remain for the rest of the service. And then once the service is finished, the casket will be taken to Santa Maria Maggiore, which is the beautiful basilica where the Pope has elected to be buried very simply in the earth with just a simple tombstone that will say nothing more than the word Franciscus, of course, his name in Latin. We do expect a huge amount, of course, of foreign dignitaries, from world leaders, religious leaders. President Trump will be coming, President Zelensky will be coming, President Putin will not be coming. A number of European leaders all clamoring to attend an event that promises to be very historic, Casey.
Historic indeed. And Anderson, we've learned a little bit more about the Pope's last moments, moving final words, apparently spoken to his nurse. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, Vatican media has just been reporting this. This took place on Sunday. As you know, Easter Sunday was very important for Pope Francis to appear on the balcony here at St. Peter's Basilica. He was able to do that. A nurse that has been by his side for years was with him as well at the time. This is a nurse who had been by his side all during the weeks that he was in the hospital, helping him to recover. The Pope wanted to give a surprise to some 50,000 people who were in St. Peter's Square to see the pontiff on Sunday in that final appearance. And he asked the nurse if he thought he could make it down into the square. The nurse brought him into the Pope Mobile, and the pontiff was able to drive around, giving those who assembled the last chance to actually see him in the Pope Mobile as he drove around. And afterward, according to Vatican media, he thanked the nurse, saying, "Thank you for bringing me back to the square." That would be the last time that he actually appeared here in the square. So we're getting more details about the final moments of Pope Francis's life, and we anticipate to hear more in the coming days.
Yeah, really remarkable. And Clarissa, of course, cardinals from all around the world convening. They're going to meet tomorrow in Rome. What do we know about the upcoming Pope selection process?
Well, I think what's really interesting, Casey, and the question that so many people here are asking is whether this new Pope will continue along the path that Pope Francis had really started to map out. And if you look at the math, as it were, Pope Francis actually put in place about 4/5 of the cardinals who will be eligible to vote. Our viewers may already be aware, but only cardinals under the age of 80 are able to vote. And he put in cardinals from countries, Casey, that never even had cardinals before: Mongolia, Laos, Guinea. So the complexion of the cardinals who will be choosing this next pope is very different and less traditional, shall we say, than in previous conclaves that we've seen over the years. There's a lot of speculation about who might emerge as the next pope. There are favorites from the Philippines, from the U.S., from Canada, from Italy, from the Democratic Republic of Congo as well. But as you are probably aware, this is a process, millennia in the making, that is shrouded in secrecy. There's a lot of politicking that goes on behind closed doors throughout the process. And so really, I think at this stage, it's still anyone's guess as to who the new pontiff will be, Casey.
Indeed. And Anderson, as we wrap up here, just can you tell us a little bit about what it's like to be there where you are, what you've heard from mourners, from visitors, and how it feels to be in St. Peter's Square right now?
Yeah, it's always an extraordinary experience to be here. I was here in 2005 with John Paul II in the days after his death and the conclave for that. We've been seeing throughout the day more and more people coming. A lot of the people earlier today who were here had been in Rome, had been visiting Vatican City in tour groups. So they had been here, they'd made these plans before the Pope died. I think starting tomorrow, we're going to see a lot more people who have intentionally come here to take part, to pay their respects to the Pontiff, as they're going to be able to, starting tomorrow and for 3 days as he lies in state here. But it's very emotional for a lot of people who are here and for those coming.
All right, Clarissa Ward and Anderson Cooper, very grateful to have both of you on the show today. Thank you so much.